So, good evening. Hope all are well and all are in a good health. I hope all are taking care of your health, wealth, and everything due to this corona pandemic. So today there will be an important lecture on MDR 17 and how we submit the medical devices application through SUGAM portal. So the major focus is, the online submission or demonstration will be given by Sneha. With me, Sneha Pandit is also there. So I will just take you through the overview of MDR 17, not in detail. And don't worry, we are going to share this presentation and MDR 17 rule with you guys. Secondly, there will be a short exam, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. We will be sending you the Google form or we will give access to our portal so that there will be a small quiz station, hardly 15 to 20 marks. So please pay your attention because this is a very important lecture and this is going to be a very good field. Those who are already into pharma or other sector, medical devices will be a very great future. Like all of them are coming from other background. If they are willing to make career in medical devices, would have very great future in this field. To begin with, the content which we have gathered is from the public resources, internet and or other websites from CDSCO, and we have acknowledged the source of information. We are going to present like this, like we are talking about Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940 and the rule, how it was evolved, from 2017 till date, what are the salient features and what are the new amendment and notification, and then we will walk through the SUGAM submission for the different application. So as you see, the definition given as per section 3B4 of the Drugs and Cosmetic Act, you will read the definition, right? Definition we cannot say in a different language. So the devices are intended for internal or external use in the diagnosis, treatment, mitigation, or prevention of the disease or disorder in human being or animals, as may be notified by central government after consultation with the board. Why we have started with the definition? Because there are some people who are just started their career in medical devices or a fresher. So that is why we thought to take start with the definition first. So it's pretty simple that medical device, any device which are used internally or externally for the diagnosis, treatment, mitigation or prevention of the disease or disorder in human being or animals, as may be notified by the central government. So who is our central government? CDSCO is our central body. And there is a notified body also. We'll discuss further. So definition continues like this: medical devices mean substances used for in vitro diagnosis, that is IVD, or surgical dressing, surgical bandages, surgical staples, surgical sutures, ligatures, blood and blood component, collection bag, with or without anticoagulant covered under subclause. Then substances including mechanical contraceptive, condoms, intrauterine devices, tubal rings, disinfectant and insecticides notified in the official gazette under subclause, then devices notified from time to time under subclause. Then the medical device rule came into picture in 2017 and which became effective from the January 2018 under this Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940. So when we are working in pharma industry, we also apply logic from the Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940 and 1945 rules. Whereas in medical devices, we apply through MDR 2017 rules. But everything comes under our Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940 from India. So what this rule says, to regulate the clinical investigation, manufacture, import, sale and distribution of the medical devices in our country. The medical devices rule 2017 are harmonized with the international regulatory practices and provide comprehensive legislation for the regulation of medical devices, which will foster Make in India also. So you must have seen during last 5 years, there is a startup. There are many startup companies, and the our prime minister, respected prime minister, is allowing everybody to enter into this area, whether it is medical devices, API, bulk drug, or any other area, as a startup company, and so that we help in Make in India concept. So there is a vision called, the Vision 2020. Under this vision, Pharma Vision 2020, everybody is, contributing to Make in India factor, and that is the reason this MDD to MDR rule has changed, and we started implementing from 2018. Because of COVID, now there is a 1 year extension given to everyone. Otherwise, the earlier deadline was, we have to implement till May 2019. Sorry, May 2020, and it because of COVID, we started suffering from, Feb, March, April, now May, June has gone. So 1 year extension is not only given in India, in Europe also, and our India also following all MDR guidelines designed by the international bodies. So India also follows European norms, European standards, and that is why our rules have become stricter and stricter, and that is good for public safety, because the ultimate aim of any health authority is to protect public health. So unless and until we meet those requirement of, protecting public from any health hazard, we are not going to get any approval. So that is the main aim of any health authority, and India is not different than any health authority. So that is why the international regulatory practices we have to follow in our India also, and we have to learn medical device rules 2017 in detail. So, what is the scope of this regulation? The Medical Devices Rule 2017 shall be applicable to the substances used for in vitro diagnosis and surgical dressings, surgical bandages, staples, and so on. Then substances including mechanical contraceptive, this we have seen, devices notified from time to time under clause. So in CDSO website, if you see, there are lots of devices comes under notified body. Okay, so if you go through this list, you will come to know which devices, which was notified earlier from January. You can see this three column name of the devices earlier to Jan 2018, and which body is responsible, SLA, state or central. So I will take you through a future slide wherein you will come to know the classification of devices, and each device, for each device registration, which is the body, state government, sorry, state licensing authority or the central licensing authority would be responsible. And coming back to, these are the 37 devices which are notified by the government of India till November 2020. Then these are the salient features where all the devices in India have, categorized based on the risk. So everywhere, if you see in US, Europe, Canada, or any part of the world, all devices are classified based on the risk. Because again, I will say any health authority's main objective is to protect health. So everyone would like to see the patient should get more benefit versus the risk. So the benefit ratio will always be higher than the risk. And that is why this classification is very, very important, how you are going to categorize your medical device based on the risk. Then there is a provision of notified bodies. Then quality management system in line with ISO 13485 mandatory requirement that we have also adopted in India, and it is existing in all other countries since ages. Because without ISO 13485 certification, you cannot go to Europe, CE marking, or USA for the 510K or NIOSH testing, or any part of the continent. So this is mandatory requirement to have your quality management system in place as per ISO 13485 2016. Then the provisions related to the essential principle of safety and performance for the manufacturer have been specified in this rule. So we are talking about how this rule is applicable. First is what the medical devices are categorized based on the risk. Then there is a provision of notified body. The third one is you have to adapt the quality management system. And fourth is essential principle of safety and performance. Fifth is separate provisions for the regulation of clinical investigation of investigational medical devices, that is new devices have been made at par with the international practice. Because earlier if you see as per the old regulation, we were not giving any importance to the clinical investigation, and there was a case study happened due to Johnson and Johnson implant, you know. So due to those implant case, India has become stricter and we started following as per the international standard, and clinical investigation has become very important criteria to get an approval. Secondly, if you see in pharma, clinical evidence, clinical evaluation, clinical trial, clinical studies, these are the popular term. Without clinical studies, you cannot enter into market, and you have to go through those non-clinical and clinical phases mandatory when we talk about the pharma drug. But in case of medical devices, this was not of given much importance during old days, but due to many cases it has now started, and that is the reason we are started following as per exactly as per international standard. Then the provision is made to designate or establish central government medical device testing laboratories to verify conformance with the quality standard. So as I said, the categories are based on the risk. So the medical devices shall be notified by the central government and classified by the CLA, that is Central Licensing Authority, based on the classification rules specified in the first schedule of the drafted rules. So following are the risk-based classes, class A, B, C and D. Class A has a low risk, then class B has a low moderate risk, class C has a moderate to high risk, and class D will be designated as a high risk. So, manufacturer of medical devices for sales or distribution who comes under class A and B have to manufacturer shall apply through an identified online portal of Ministry of Health, and all the requisite documents as per the fourth schedule and fee specified in the second schedule. So this will be shown to you how actually we have to apply by using different MD forms. You know, we have downloaded some forms also as an example, and Sneha will show you all those forms also, how it is applicable to class A, class B or class C and class B. So just have the patient hearing. Then after this, no audit for the class A device prior to grant of license. But natural, right? Class A and B are the low risk classes. That is why no audit for the class A device prior to grant of license. But the audit may be carried out within 120 days from the date of issue of license. Once you receive the license, then the audit will be called after 120 days. So it is pretty simple, pretty straightforward, to understand how the manufacturer of medical devices who are into sales and distribution have to apply this logic under class A and B devices. So then again class A, as we discussed, the audit of class B device is necessary prior to the grant of manufacturing license. So I hope you understood the difference. For class A, there is no audit prior to grant of license, but there will be audit after 120 days from the date of issue. Whereas in class B device necessary prior to grant of manufacturing license, and the audit shall be carried out within 90 days from the date of application. So when we apply within that 90 days of application, there will be an audit. Then the notified body shall furnish its report to SLA within 30 days. Pretty simple. Then in case of class C and D, the application shall be made with requisite documents and fees through online portal of the central government to the CLA. And CLA may use the services of any expert and of a notified body and may carry out an inspection within a period of 60 days from the date of application. So you have to remember those 120 days, 90 days. Here, if you see 60 days, right, after the application. But here what happened, the CLA may use the services of any expert and of a notified body and may carry out an inspection within the 60 days. And no inspection of a medical device manufacturing site for the grant of loan license to be carried out if the site is already licensed to manufacture such devices. And after completion of inspection, the inspection team shall forward the report to the CLA through online portal. And these are the 12 chapters. If you see how it is, the title of application, commencement and definition given under each chapter. So chapter 1 is always start with the title, application, commencement, definition. Chapter 2 gives the classification of MDs, grouping of MDs, essential principle. Chapter 3, authorities, delegation of power. Chapter 4, like that you can read out. Chapter 6 is also important when we talk about the labels. So labeling requirement of product is also important. Then when you are going to import your MD application from overseas inspection and all, chapter 5 is important. So like that there are 12 chapters given under this MDR 17. Then there are different schedule from schedule first to 8. If you see the first, as per the schedule first, classification of MD and IBD is given. As per schedule 2, the second schedule, fees is given. Third, registration and functions of notified bodies. Fourth, documents required for grant of manufacturing and import of license. And as per fifth schedule, quality management system, you have to follow. That is a mandatory requirement as per 13485 and 2016. Sixth schedule gives post-approval major and minor changes. So post-approval means once you get the approval of your medical devices, there could be any changes happening in your medical devices. So you will be getting major and minor queries. Okay, so whatever major and not queries, major and minor changes if you are doing in your devices, you have to apply for the post-approval. Means again you have to reapply and get the approval done. Then as per the 7th schedule, requirements to conduct the clinical investigation. This is also very important schedule. And under 8, there are some exemptions given if at all you are eligible to that. Then these are the regulatory authorities. You have to see under which category, which are the authorities are responsible. And see the device class activities when you are importing class A device. So see, even all classes A, B, C, D, CLA is the responsible authority. And when you are a manufacturer, then SLA in case of A and B, and in case of C and D, CLA will be responsible. And if you the conformity assessment and all these things has to be met as per the given criteria. Then sale, then QMS verification. This everything will be shown during our practical session, and Sneha will take this and explain this slide in a much better way practically, because this is a table just for your understanding. For each class, which are the body, the regulatory authority is responsible, because it is at a one shot you will come to know where you are placed, okay, in the import, manufacture, permission, sale or verification of this QMS. Then medical device and this you can refer to this official website at CDSCO online. This also we are going to going through this website. Also there is a screenshot given when we are sending the presentation to you. You will not be able to go actually through the website, because there we require the credential, and those who are already having user ID password can browse through the SUGAM portal with their credential. And there are new definitions given as per the MDR 17. You can read through the MDR 17, which we are going to send to you. So these are the different new definitions given under this MDR 17. So from here, I would say, Sneha, can you take from this onwards?
Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it's over to you, Sneha.
Sure.
There was an amendment, so you can speak about this amendment, and then you take through the next slide for the demonstration.
All right. So before, like Madam explained, there was a different authority for drugs, and they were planning on making a different authority for the medical devices. But on 11th Feb 2020, they made a new notification that all of the medical devices, everything will come under CDSCO itself. They felt that the organization was already very, very well developed, so they could handle medical devices as well. So as you can see, notified that following devices for humans as drugs will with effect from 1st April 2020. So all kind of the definitions like Madam explained, the diagnosis, prevention, monitoring, treatment of any disease or disorder, then supporting or sustaining life, disinfection of medical devices, control of conception. Every single device which comes under these definitions will be monitored by the CDSCO. All right. Uh, So, like I said, with will be effective from April 2020. Chapter 3, a registration of certain medical devices. Then, so now, like I said, now there are two different types of medical devices under CDSCO. One is the one that has been regulated. So the first 37 devices names that Madam gave, those are the regulated devices. And from 11th Feb, the notification said all of them have to be under CDSCO. So there are two different types, regulated and non-regulated. So apart from the 37 devices mentioned first, every single device will come under the non-regulated devices. So the devices which have been regulated, if you manufacture those devices, you will have to apply for a manufacturing license. Or if you want to import those devices, you have to apply for an import license or a sale license, whatever it is. But those devices, apart from the 37 devices, if you do anything, if you manufacture anything, you only have to register your device on the portal. You don't have to apply for any license. You don't have to apply for anything. You have to register your devices online. To register the devices, you also have to create a login ID. You also have to have a quality management system. So all of that registration, I will show you in the next slides. Ma'am, next slide, please. Hello. Hello.
I will give an access. You just open
Sure.
your slide. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
I will stop share.
Yeah.
You just open your slide so that you have your control.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can everyone see my slide?
Yes, yes, yes. Just make it as a full view.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you.
So, like I said, when you register your device, you will need a generic name, model, intended use, then brand name, and ISO 13485 certificate. So that is very important. You may not have to apply for like a manufacturing license, but you need to have a good quality management system. The 13485 right now has become the basis of every single medical device manufacturer. So if at all you are a manufacturer, make sure that your regulatory team is well versed in 13485. They need to have the right training to implement 13485 in your company. And this particular certificate, this particular QMS system shouldn't be there just for the sake of it. No, this particular QMS has been designed with medical devices in mind, and there has been no change for the next 5 years in this particular QMS. So if at all you do manufacture, make sure that your team is good, capable enough to handle 13485 as well. And if you are a regulatory affairs consultant or a member, if you have the knowledge for 13485, you can apply to a number of medical devices manufacturers. Okay. So in conclusion, medical device rules are a way to regulate medical devices in India, which was pretty self-explanatory. Then the manufacture for sale is being regulated, which will create environment for international acceptance of devices made in India. Now, right now, as you know, that manufacturing in India is extremely at a lower level. Pharma, we are number 3 exporter in pharma in the world. So our plan has to be that the medical device sector also reaches those heights. So this is the first step for it. Once the devices are regulated, once the quality is maintained, we can definitely get there. Import of medical devices is been regulated, so that internationally regulated and devices registered in India will be available to stakeholders, which is again very self-explanatory. Now, okay, now we move on to the actual, how do you apply for a CDSCO license? How do you operate the website itself? The first, I would like to say that the SUGAM portal and the website, they have made a wonderful, wonderful website, which is pretty user friendly. They have given every single every single place they have explained what is needed and why it is needed. I will go through all the entire website for you. If you have any questions regarding all of that was explained before this, you can ask right now, so that otherwise we will move on to the actual demo. Hello. And does anyone have any questions? You can write in the chat box. We can see those right now. Okay, so, Ranjan is asking devices which are already notified, like 37 devices. For that, only registration is required. No, quite the opposite. So the 37 devices which are already notified, for that you need to apply for a manufacturing license. You need to make sure that you have a 13485 certificate, you have a manufacturing license. You have to apply for them. Other than those 37, you have to just register on the website. Clear? Does Samantha has a question. Does CLA and SLA have same SUGAM portal login, or we have to create login separately? No, they have a same portal. If license is valid up to 2022, then also. So you already have a manufacturing license under CDSCO for this. Ranjan is asking. See, the type of license which you have right now, manufacturing license. Okay.
What I would request all to park their question, and we will we will spend more time in question and answer. Okay? Is that fine, Ranjan, Samantha, and all?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Because what happens once you understand the full procedure of application online, you will not understand thoroughly. Because just I have given the overview of this MDR 17, but actual application, actual form, how does it look like? What kind of documentations are required? How this quality management system is important? Everything will be discussed during this demonstration. Okay, and there you will be having more question, and otherwise if you have any other question pending in your mind, will be answered during this demonstration. Okay, so Sneha, I would request you to go through each and every function of this
Sure.
online portal, and I request everyone to write your question in the chat box, and we will answer to each of your question, okay, at the end of the session.
Sure.
Thanks for your patience. Yes, Neha.
Okay. So now we will start with the online system for medical devices. Now, CDSCO has regulated certain medical devices. If you manufacture these devices, you will have to apply for a manufacturing license. The list, as madam has already shared in the previous slide. The regulated device manufacturers have to apply for a manufacturing license. But like I said, if your devices is not regulated, you have to still register on the SUGAM portal and register your device. The portal created is cdscomd online.gov.in. Now, there are, first, like I said, it was only a drugs website. So this was the standard website, CDSCO, normal, cdsco.gov.in. So this was about normal places, where now you can see over here, there's a medical device and diagnostics option, there's a drugs option, there's a cosmetic option, clinical trial, everything. But when you open this website, you get this particular pop up in this. So it is a click here to visit SUGAM, click here to visit online system for medical devices, click here to visit state drugs licensing system, click here to visit ICDRA. So you click on online system for medical devices, you are redirected to this particular website, which is a cdscomd.gov.in. Okay. So even if you go on Google and you type CDSCOMD, you get this particular website and you can see this website. Okay, this is a screenshot of the front page of the website. All right. I will show you how the live website also features. Once we are all done with the slideshow, we can go to the live website and I'll show you. Okay, now here are the basic features of this particular website. Like I said, the first thing is on online application submission, which is a very, very good thing. You don't have to go to the offices with your files and everything. Just submit online and everything is done. Tracking of the applications. Again, you can always see which department has your, how the process of your, how the, what do you say, progress of your application is going. The next is the workflow enabled system. Now there are different steps to completing the application. So they've made a very foolproof system that if you don't complete step 1, you cannot go to step 2 of the application. That's why there's a workflow. So once you complete step 1, then you can go to step 2, and then only you can go to step 3. You cannot directly skip to step 3. So there is always a workflow which you have to follow. The third is timely alerts and notifications. The manufacturer's mobile number and email address both will be registered with CDSCO. So any kind of update or any kind of suppose if they have a query regarding your application, or your application has been rejected, or there's some other problem, they will let you know. So there is always a timely alert and notification which has been going on. And now analytical and statistical platforms they have given, because they have mentioned over, when you scroll down to the website, you can see how many applications have been done so far, how many have been approved, how many are pending, how many exactly. So they give you a performance as well. So how many applications they have done so far and everything. That is the platforms have given. Then you scroll down and at the bottom, you will see these few symbols. Now, first is the industry guidelines. So if you click on industry guidelines, what you will be able to see is that basically a user manual, a user manual as to how you can see how you can use the website. How do you register for the portal? What do you do? The industry guidelines they're very generic, and they are actually very, very good. So if you have any issues, you can always go to the industry guidelines and you can see how do you register, if you get stuck anywhere, what should be the solution, why the problem is coming, everything is being mentioned. And the same with video tutorials. So video tutorials also, the same manual they have given in a video format, so you can view that as well. Then the fee payable. Fee payable, like madam said, now class A and class B devices are lower risk devices, and which are approved by the state licensing authority. And C and D are approved, which are higher risk, are approved by central licensing authority. So the price for application, you have to pay a certain amount so that your application is accepted and they start working on it. So the price will vary depending on the risk class of your device. So if you click on fee payable, you will be able to see, depending on your class, how much fee you have to pay. Okay. Then there is a checklist. This is the most important form that we will need. So checklist, the medical device rules 2017, which we spoke in the first session, was that particular medical device rules will, at the bottom of those rules, you can see an annexure. So depending on, again, your class of your device and the type, if you want to import, if you want to manufacture, if you want to sell, or you want to perform clinical investigation, depending on what your goal is, you have to select from the checklist a form. Okay. I will explain the checklist in detail in further slides. Okay. Then FAQs. The FAQs are also very good. There are certain very, very simple generic questions which people have asked, and they have compiled them. So you can always go through those, see if your queries are solved. Okay. Like I said, if you click, the details of payment can be seen when you click the fee payable. Payment method is also explained in the industry guideline. So in the industry guidelines, what online payment has to be done, how the online payment has to be done, it's all explained in there. Then once you create a login, you can always see in the profile online payment. So you can view your status, you can make a payment, all of it is seen. We'll see all of this once we further go ahead, okay? Now we'll talk about a checklist. Checklist is very, very important. So checklist is basically a detailed list of documents which will be needed to submit your application. Since there is a risk-based classification, the checklist is different for each product. Now, to see which checklist applied to your product, please refer to the medical device rules. I've given, so if you go, see, now for MD1, checklist MD1. So application for grant of certificate of registration of notified body. So you are not a manufacturer, but you want to become a notified body. You want to be someone who can give licenses. So for that as well, you have to apply to CDSCO. Then if you see MD3, application for grant of license to manufacture for sale and distribution of class A and class B medical device. So this is MD3. All right. So now if you see MD4, MD4 is grant of loan license for manufacture, for sale or distribution of class A or B. Now you may think, okay, these two are same only for A or B. The difference is the loan license. So what happens in certain cases? So R&D is already done, but you don't have the manpower or the premises to perform the production itself. So you can give, so what you do, you outsource all of that production activity to somewhere else. So what you have to, so then you don't have to apply for a license, you have to apply for a loan license. So that particular person who is, what you say, who's manufacturing for you, but it is your R&D, then the loan license will come into picture. Okay. So this is the difference. Then if you see, now if you see MD7 and MD8, again, similarly, distribution of class C and class D devices. MD8 is grant of loan license for class C and D. There are total 40 applications. If you are a manufacturer, you have to apply, you have to make sure only you have only 2 or 3 which you need. Then MD15 is license to import medical device. Then MD90, license to import investigational medical device by a government hospital or medical institution for treatment of patients. So you want to temporarily import a medical device by a government hospital to check the patient, you need to apply for that as well. They have made every single provision so that every single, whatever need you have is always included in every single MD form. Now I have downloaded a few forms which I can show you right now. 1 minute. So if you see this is MD3 form. So the MD3 form, you can see what you need covering letter.
Sneha, we can't see. Just change your screen. Stop this screen and go to another screen. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, can you see now?
Yeah, perfect.
So this is the MD3 form. So in this, you can see for the type of documents you need for MD3. So covering letter is one, then constitution of firm, then copy of certificate, then plant master file. Plant master file, I said, appendix 1 of 4th schedule of medical device rules. So the medical device rules has to, that particular document has to be your main document which you refer while using the SUGAM, before you use the SUGAM portal, because you need to be very familiar with that particular rules, set of rules. So this is the one. If you see now MD7, we'll show you MD7, which is a higher class C device. So in this you can see plant layout. You need plant layout with premises to indication of scale, organization chart showing arrangements for key personnel. Now in this you can see that it is said is mandatory. So this document is mandatory or not, they have given already. So now is this say, now this copy of duly notarized valid copies of quality certificate in respect to manufacturing sites. They have said no, but in the below they've said copy of certificate supporting 13485, yes, you need. So every document, they've said that whichever is needed, you have to upload them. Now, if they say key qualification, experience, responsibilities of key technical person, they've said no, it is not mandatory, then you don't need to upload it. But whichever documents are mandatory, you have to upload. And if at all you have ISO 13485, you will have most of these documents. So upload them. It will be a benefit. It will be beneficial for them as well. Okay. And if at all, suppose now they said that this particular document, quality policy, they've said it is mandatory, and you don't have it. If you don't, it's not in your scope, and you don't have to upload it, but you have to upload technical justification that says that no, this particular is not in our scope, so we cannot upload this document. Okay. So even if it is a mandatory document and you don't, if it is not in your scope, you have to upload a technical justification for it. You cannot just skip it. That is not acceptable. Okay. So as you can see now, these were so the fourth schedule, over here you said red, the fourth schedule. So fourth schedule 4. So quality manual, quality policy. Now all of this comes under 13485. So now I'm not sure how many of you have a working knowledge of 13485, but I'll give you a basic idea. So the quality management system is basically, you have something called a standard operating procedure. And from that procedure, you do your day-to-day tasks and you create records for your procedure. Now, when they say you have to upload control of documents, you don't have to upload records. So this is how we have controlled our documents, and these are the records. You don't have to upload a record, because there are many records. You cannot physically scan and upload every single one of them. So you have to upload a control of SOP. You have to upload standard operating procedure as to how you control your documents. That is enough for most of the So if you oversee internal audit system, you don't have to upload audit records. You have to upload your SOP, CAPA, preventive and corrective action. And similarly, that we have to upload only the SOP and not the actual records. Okay. So part 4th schedule is for the all the documents. And 5th schedule is the technical documentation of your device. Now, if you see over here, device master file. Now, device master file, they've said that if you note, in case of class A devices, appendix 2 is not required. So if you have only a class A devices, then all of these documents are not applicable. But if you have class B, C, and D, all of these are applicable for you. So part 1, executive summary. So executive summary, you have to, what is executive summary in detail they have given in the medical device rules. What all does it include? You have to write, all of that has to be included in that. Then product specifications, references to predicate or previous generations of devices, labeling instruction, which is manual and instructions for use. Then device design and manufacturing information. Now again, device design and manufacturing information. Now what do you do in this? You can upload how you design the, now your particular device is selected, but you can upload a flow chart as to how you have designed the device and what is the manufacturing process of each device. So if you upload a flow chart, they can always understand as to how it is. Okay. Then this essential principle checklist. This is the most important one when you upload. Now, essential principles are basically for safety. For the safety of your product, what all have you made sure that your product is safe to use? So first of all will be our risk management file. You have to make sure that our risk management file is up to the mark. You've covered every single risk regarding your product. All right. Then there is the clinical investigation. If you have created usability file, as you can say. So someone else has used your device, it is safe to use, what all precautions you've taken. All of those will be included in the essential principle checklist. All right. Then again, risk analysis and control summary will be your risk management file. So in this essential principle, you have to just say that, okay, this is my risk management file. Please refer the 5.6. For this is my post-market surveillance data over here, you have to write, and please refer to this. All right. Was that clear, or should I repeat myself? Hello.
Yeah, it's clear.
Clear, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Then post-market surveillance data, whatever post-market surveillance data, whatever complaints you've got, how you've handled the complaints, what was the CAPA taken on that. For this particular thing, when they have said data, you need to upload a record of it. So you have to actually upload what the complaint was, how you solved it, in how much time you solved it, and what was the output, so that this particular complaint was not repeated. So for something like post-market surveillance data, you have to upload the actual data. Similarly, for design verification and validation, so if you follow 13485, you will have a design verification validation plan. I know I keep coming back to 13485, but if you have a strong 13485, all of this uploading becomes very, very easy. So first, you need to get your basis strong for 13485. All right. Then, so medicinal substances data, if device contains drug, then if at all this, suppose your device does not contain any drug, if it is a proper equipment, say an ECG machine, so then you can just upload a justification saying that no, it is not, our device does not contain any drug, and that's why this clause is not applicable to us. It's simple. Okay. Similarly, animal studies. So if your device includes any animal tissues or anything, again, you can say not applicable for us. We can move on. Then software verification and validation. So if your device uses a software, now people confuse software and firmware. So if your device is connected to a PC, people think, okay, that is software, but that's not the only thing. So if your device has a screen and you have a knob to rotate or to select or anything, if you have, suppose, like I said, we will give it an example of ECG machine. If the ECG machine has a screen where you can select an option, like I want single channel, 3-channel, or whatever it is. So that is basically a software. So you have to upload the verification and validation plan of that software. So again, if ISO 13485 covers all of this, verification and validation as well. All right. So that also you have to include. Then there is this thing, batch release certificates or certificate of analysis of product, a finished product of minimum 3 consecutive batches. Now, the difference between a medical device and a drug is the main thing, that drugs are normally released in batches, while medical devices are not released in batches. If you say a big, like an ECG machine, you have to release one at a time, and each device has an identification number, serial number. Whereas, suppose say a syringe and set of syringes are released in batches. So over here, you have to upload the filled up quality assessment reports of 3 previous devices. That is enough. You don't need to, like I said, you feel like, oh, batches, like we don't sell in batches, we sell each an individual one. That is okay. Just each individual device you upload 3 filled up QA reports, and you will be fine. Then they said fee challan and legal format. This is undertaking. So the undertaking we will see in the next, when we go through the website and everything, you will see the undertaking as well. So this is basically what type of documents you will need if you manufacture certain devices is seen over here. These, now you don't need a login to, okay. So you don't need a login to see this checklist. So you're like, okay, I don't have a login. How will I see what kind of checklist? No, the checklist is available to anyone. You don't need to create a login or anything. You just scroll down to the website and you can see the checklist. Click on it, select whatever is applicable to yours, download the checklist, and you can go through, like, what do I need exactly? All right. So you can see MD40, these are 40 checklist forms. Whichever is applicable to you, you have to download. Now, type of document. So like I said, type of document, I already explained what all do we need in these forms. So these are type of documents. Sorry, I'll just. And then, okay, this is the, In the checklist, they have mentioned which documents are mandatory and which are not. If any clause is not applicable to your device, you will have to upload a technical justification as to why the clause is not applicable. All right. Now we will move on to the login. So now that you know that, okay, you have to refer to the MD7 checklist to create to apply for a manufacturing license, you need to actually register on the portal first. All right. So we can click on login. This is the username, password, everything. We click on register here. When we click on register here, the registration purpose is selected. So the purpose is, their options are import of medical device, clinical investigations, laboratory registration, manufacture of medical device, registration of notified bodies, and registration of non-regulatory device. So if your device does not fall in the 37 regulated device, you have to go for this particular option, registration of non-regulatory device, otherwise manufacture and everything. So we'll click on manufacture for right now and click submit. Okay, now when you click on submit, the next window, you will have to fill up required information like applicant type, username, password. So you have to remember the username, password, because these will be the credentials. Then you have to upload the identity proof of the applicant. The identity proof will be the Aadhaar card, which is the most used one. It is the safest option. Go for the Aadhaar card as well, always. Then there is also an undertaking. The undertaking is basically saying that XYZ, I am the manufacturer of this particular company. I work for this particular company. Then you have to appoint a representative. That this particular representative will be handling all of this, and they should sign and stamp and print it on a letterhead and upload that undertaking. I'll show you what the undertaking looks like. It's a basic blank format. And if you just fill it up, print on the letterhead and then upload it. Okay. Then the applicant will also have to fill out details like complete address, which is registered office address, CIN number, upload certificate of incorporations. And if you have any other manufacturing licenses like Udyoga, Aadhaar and everything. All of the documents have to be in PDF format. Okay. Once the documents are uploaded, you click on submit, the application will be in process. And once all the information is verified, your registration will be completed. Now, CDSCO has a rule that suppose whatever documents you upload, say certificate of incorporation, Udyoga Aadhaar certificate, or the undertaking, all of these documents which you upload, you have to take a hard copy, you have to take a printout with a hard copy of these documents has to be sent to the CDSCO office, head office in Delhi for verification. You have to make sure that you sign and stamp each document you send. Now, this information is there on the website. So this is a screenshot from the website. So you can read over here. So authorized signatory responsible person of the organization should fill the form. Whatever are in asterisks are mandatory. All PDF documents with size not more than 10 MB are permitted. Then, like I said, after submitting registration form, check registered email for verification. Submit ID proof, undertaking, and address proof, document and hard copy. Registration will be approved by CDSCO only after evaluation of submitted documents. Check your registered email ID for all communications. Okay, then like I said, all documents should be self-attested by the person who signs on undertaking with stamp and seal of the company. All right. Now, once your login is actually completed, you have to move on to submission of application. When you log into the portal, you can see this particular screen. Submit application, saved application, then whatever is already submitted, approved, rejected, apply post approval, if there are changes, any post approval, any queries have been raised, you have to respond to them. Submit, then non-regulatory device also is included over here. Okay. Now, to submit an application, just 1 minute. To submit an application. So when you click on submit application, this particular window is same. So first, select license type. So it will be manufacturing license or import license or whatever. Select form. So the checklist that is applicable to yours, you have to select. Right now, for example, we've taken MD7. And then select category. Category will be medical devices or IVD, which is in vitro devices. All right. Then you have to agree and you have to click on submit. Okay. Then application for grant of license to manufacture or sale distribution of class C and D. I had selected MD7. So automatically class C and D are there. Then first is applicant or manufacturer detail. So you have to put in the details of the applicant. So once you fill out the applicant details, it's the basically type of applicant. All of this I'll show you when we do the live website. But again, the details will include a registered office address as to then identity proof and everything. Similarly, what we had filled beforehand. Then you have to fill out medical devices and diagnostic details. So then actual details of the medical device, which will include class of device, intended use, device dimensions, material of construction, shelf life, sterilization, storage conditions, and various models that you have. So once these two informations have been filled out, when we click on the next option, we will move on to the checklist according to the class of the product. Okay. Then now this is the checklist that we had. Now I will have to click on each particular option, and once I open it, I can upload a document in that particular checklist. So if you have selected the wrong checklist by mistake, it will give you a completely different set of documents that you have to upload. So make sure you select whatever you need to know the class of your device, and you need to know which checklist is required. All right. So the format of documents, first of all, it has to be PDF. It has to be less than 10 MB, and the file name should not contain a period symbol or a dash symbol in the file name. No, there is. If you have those in your file name, it may not upload. It may not get uploaded. It might show some error. There is no sequence. So if you have this particular file, before you have this particular file, you can upload any file you want in the. There's no sequence. You have to go from top to bottom. Any document you can upload. And you can modify and edit the document as well. So if you've already uploaded, that doesn't mean it is final. You can remove it and re-upload also. But this is all before you submit the application. Once you submit the application, you cannot change it. Okay. Then to complete the application submission, once all documents have been uploaded, you will have to complete the payment. Like I said, payment will depend on the class of the device. So you click on the menu option to complete payment or check status of the payment. Okay. Now, once the application has been submitted, see, it will take CDSO. Normally, they in their rules they've said that within 45 days they will respond with a query or with the acceptance of the application or rejection, whatever it is. So you will get a notification on your registered email address that their query has been raised. But it will be wise, like, to go and check yourself in every week that if some query has come or not. So in the main screen, you can see like query has been raised. So if you click on this particular option, you can see this. Then this option will come. You can see over here, this is the file number, then form name. I have blanked out the company name over here. So what you can see, respond to query, edit device detail, view checklist, withdraw application, and generate form, apply endorsement. Those are other options. So if you can select respond to query, you can go and see what queries they have said. So now this is the responding to query. So covering letter, they've said it is okay. Now this particular thing, they've said okay, there is a query for each. So when you click on this particular option, they'll see they give a text query. So when you see they read the query, now maybe the query may be whatever, that the address does not match, or the document is not clear, or document is not downloading, or document is wrong itself, whatever it is. You have to read the query. Either you have to respond to the query with a justification saying that no, what we have uploaded is the only option we have, or they give you an option to re-upload the document. Either you can select whatever you want. So in the red, like I said, these are the queries. Whatever is okay, they're okay. You need to move on from those. Okay. So that was for regulated devices. Now for non-regulated devices, if you do, then there is no option of submission of application or anything. You have to just submit device. There is no application for non-regulated devices. So you can click on submit device. Oh, sorry. This slide came by me. So the menu option, like I said, there's an online payment option over here. There's a user profile. You can add address. You can add non-regulatory devices from your menu option as well. It's not an option. It is an option as well. A non-regulated device. So to add for non-regulated device, you have to add select purpose, which will be just registration of devices. Then generic name, medical device category, which will be MD or IVD. Then category of notified category of medical device, class of device, device dimension, sterilization, material of construction. And like I said, these are all marked in red asterisks. You need to those are mandatory options. Okay, once the information is just given, you click on submit. And once you click on submit, you need to upload the ISO 13485 certificate and on the same undertaking with a sign and stamp. So once devices have been added, you can view the devices also. So the ECG machine has been added with the ISO certificate and the undertaking. A Holter device has been added. So you can see categories is cardiovascular ECG machine. This is cardiovascular Holter. Then cardiovascular patient monitor. So all of these devices have been added and you can view their ISO certificate. I'm sorry, someone said something? Hello? Okay. So this is how you add the non-regulated devices as well. Those we don't need to do an application submission or the checklist or anything. Those don't apply to those non-regulated devices. Over there, you just have to add your device with the ISO certificate and undertake. Now there is a symbol. Once you get a login ID, there is a symbol for queries. You can click on this symbol. Mostly if you have any technical queries or problems with the website or format of documents, the CDSO team will respond to your queries. They have been good about those parts, but mostly technical queries. They don't for what type of document to upload, they will not know, but format and document, all of those queries, they will respond to. All right. Now, I know I went through that very, very quickly, but once we see the actual website, it will be easier for you to understand. But right now, does anyone have any particular queries before I go to the actual website? Okay, I think I have one. Okay, how to create login ID in CDSO site as consultant for registration. Unfortunately, right now there is not an option for consultants. You have to be you have to upload your certificate of incorporation. You have to upload your Udyog Aadhaar and all of those. So a manufacturer or an importer, only those have authority to create a login ID right now. What comes under regulated and non-regulated device means how categorization is done. Okay, it was explained in the first few slides only. 37 devices, the list which madam gave. One sec, I will just go through this devices.
Yeah, go back to that notified.
Yeah. So if you see these devices, now hypodermic needles, heart valves, CT scan equipment, MRI equipment, glucometer, defibrillators, X-ray machine, dialysis machine, all of these are regulated. So if you manufacture one of these devices, then you need to apply for a license. If you manufacture anything else other than these 37 devices, then you just need to register on the website. Okay. Priyanka, is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. No? Now, we will move on to the proper website. All right. Is that okay, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
You can show them right from login screen.
Yeah. So this is the basic CDSO website. Like I said, cdsco.gov.in. This is the CDSO website. Then over here, if you go to medical devices, you can see medical devices in vitro diagnostics and everything. All right. So this is the basic CDSO website. If you're a medical device manufacturer, this website will not come into picture. This website will come into picture. Okay. So this is the cdscomdonline.gov.in. Okay. So this was the main screen. So this was the main screen that I showed you. Then the features, like I said, so online application submission, tracking of applications, everything you can be done over here. Then this was the portal statistics. So you can see how many registered users are there, how many applications have been received, processed, and approved devices. Everything you can see over here. Then the industry guidelines, like I said, again the screenshot, which are industry guidelines, fee payable, checklist, video tutorials, quick notes. So if you go to checklist right now, if you go here, all you have to do is select a particular form. So if you select MD3 right now, and you select MD, click on submit. This particular form will be downloaded. So you can see it is downloaded, okay? And you can, it's a PDF format, it will be easily downloaded, not a problem. So you don't need a login or a password for the checklist, all right? Now, if you see, click on login. Now, if you click on login, if you don't have a username, password, you can just do a register here. Okay. I don't know why it is showing that. I don't want to register here. Okay. So if you select over here, purpose of registration, import of medical device, clinical investigation, laboratory, manufacture of medical device, registration notified bodies, and registration of non-regulatory devices. So if you go to manufacture of medical device, you click on submit. So like I said, the first step will be all of this. So they will say, make sure all of these instructions are followed. Then you can choose the applicant type, manufacturer or anything. Then user ID, username, password, you confirm the password. Then your name of your responsible person. Then ID proof. So whoever name you've entered over here, make sure you upload their ID proof as well. And this is the undertaking that I had mentioned. So it's basically an sort of an affidavit. So this is the undertaking that you have to sign and stamp. So I declare that this particular person who is suppose managing director, CEO of that company, and then someone who is having registered office at this particular address and everything. So contact details, and then someone who is representing. Now the CEO himself will not be handling CDSO activities on their own. So someone who is responsible, maybe an MR or anyone, will be representing this particular thing. So you can write down his name as well. And then they will say, I will authorize this particular person. So basically this is an undertaking which you sign. So sign, name of designation, firm's name, seal, and you print it on a letterhead and you upload it. All right. So when they say over here, undertaking, once you have taken a printout on the letterhead, you can upload the file. Then there's a registered Indian address. So organization name, type, CIN number, address has to be there. Then contact number. Now the fax number. It is mandatory. Sometimes you feel like, okay, we don't have a fax machine nowadays. No, many people don't have. But if you enter a mobile number here also, it is acceptable. That is one thing that we had a problem with. But if you just add any mobile number or a landline number, it is accepted over here. Then upload corporate address, certificate of incorporation, copy of manufacturing license or wholesale license. So this is there. Then please tick this option if you want to receive SMS alerts, all of this. And then finally you click on submit once everything is completed. All right. So this is the registration purpose. Now, I have a login address, but this is my own personal company's login address. So I'm going to, please don't use this once it's a confidential address, okay? Okay, so over here, this is a manufacturer. So like I said, the main screen will look like this. This is the query option. If you have any query or help desk, you can report to this. Then there is submit application, then saved application, approved application, everything is seen over here. So if you go over here, so this is the application which is already been saved, and this is the query which has been raised. So if you go over here, if you say respond to query, you can view the query or whatever it is. So if you view the query over here, they'll say this is a particular query and everything. All right. So you have to respond to that query and complete your application. Then there is option over here. So the user profile. So you can, whatever your profile is there is already seen. So your name of the company and everything, ID proof, everything is already there in the option menu options. So you don't need to keep, so if you want to add an Indian address or anything, then the online payment. So you can view a payment status, whether the payment done was properly or not. Okay. Then adding non-regulatory devices. Okay. So if you see over here, submitted non-regulatory devices. So over here you can see there is nothing, no option. So only regulated devices have been submitted in this particular application. That's why. Now this was like the basic working of the website. So if you have an application you want to submit as to how the situations would be. Now, if anyone has any queries, I think so. Like I said, the portal itself is very user friendly. It is very easy to use. They have given many options. You have to just read everything properly and make sure you make the right choices. So right now I'm going to log out from this particular login, but if you have any queries, I will log in again. Since this is a confidential information, I'm going to log out. But if you have any queries now, I think now we'll move on to the queries section. So if you have anything you want to ask or anything else, please ask in the chat so that I can answer your queries. Is there any timeline to reply queries raised by CDSO? Yes, there is a timeline. You have to respond to the queries within 30 days. If you don't respond within 30 days, they might just say that your queries have not been responded, it becomes null and void. So yeah.
Then the application will be get cancelled if we delete the
It
query.
will not be cancelled immediately, but we also see if they have taken an effort in raising queries, we also should make an effort and reply to the queries as soon as possible, right? And if we don't, and if you don't have the right answer to their queries, you have to ask them for more time. You can write an email to them saying that we don't have an answer to our query. The application will not be cancelled immediately, but it is what is expected. It is like a unspoken rule. It is expected. You need to answer them.
Okay.
Why regulated device need to take license and non-regulated only registration? See, regulated devices, what does that mean? It means that they have, so this there is a, I'm going to open the medical device rules 2017 now. Just 1 minute, I'll open that. Okay, so this is the medical device rules 2017. So in this, what they have given is that, what does it mean? What does it mean to be a regulated device? So you can see over here, classification of medical devices have given, grouping they have given, and essential principles for manufacturing. So now, I don't know how many of you are aware, but we have a BIS, which is Bureau of Indian Standards. There are ISO standards and there are European Union standards that we follow, or other pharmacopoeial standards. So regulated devices, which are basically devices which need regulations, which need to follow those particular standards to manufacture a device. Now, if you manufacture a device, defibrillator, which is a very high risk device, basically it gives a shock to the machine. So those devices, not everyone can manufacture. So you need to have certain quality, certain safety standards which need to be followed, which is why you need, those devices are regulated. Those device needs extra attention. Those device needs extra care, which is why those devices are regulated and some of them are not regulated. Now, most of the devices, now there are some high risk devices which are not yet regulated, but they don't have the standards for them. Once the standards are incorporated, those devices will also move into regulations. All right. The main end aim is that every single device has to be regulated by the end of all of this. That is the end goal of it. But right now they have 37 devices which are regulated. So you have to, if you manufacture those, you have to apply for license. All right. So if you see over here, the medical device which are regulated shall conform to the standards laid down by Bureau of Indian Standards or Ministry of Health and Welfare. Some standards are there. Where no relevant standard in the medical device has been laid down, they will apply to International Standard of Internal Organization of Standard, which is the ISO or IEC, okay, or any other pharmacopoeia standards. So now, like an X-ray machine, again, it is a very high-risk machine, so you need to have, it needs to be regulated. All right. So that is why these two separate situations are there right now. All right. Latika, did you understand?
Okay. Yeah, say yes, no, whatever.
Yeah, she said, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Anything, any other queries, any other problems?
I think there is no other question.
Yeah.
We can go through online.
Yeah. All right. All right. So this was basically regarding the SUGAM portal and everything. You first of all, only manufacturers can or importers can create a login ID, create a login to use the SUGAM portal. Consultants and everyone, for them, they have not yet given that particular freedom. And once you have a login, you need to just make sure what type of device you manufacture, what risk, what classification is there, which based on your risk, which class does your device fall into, and what checklist do you have to refer to make sure you upload the device as well. The medical device rules 2017, which I just showed you, which I think madam will share with you. If you are a manufacturer in India, you need to read read that document carefully. It is actually a very good initiative from CDSU. It is a good document. It's written in very simple English, so understanding it is not a problem. So again, if you have any other queries regarding the medical device rules or the SUGAM portal, please ask right now. Otherwise, I think this is the end of the session then.
Yeah, now, yes. Now open for the question and answer. I hope everyone